And we're back here, second hour main event. Lou, do me a favor, lower that chair down, would you? your head's sticking out. Your head's cut off there. Uncle Lou comes into the show every Thursday. Of course, top of the hour at 9 o'clock. And NFL talk, now that the NFL season's coming up, start ramping that up with them. Hall of Fame game next week. And then, of course, a UFC talk with Uncle Lou out there as well. And just a fun time. Have loving you in. He was just talking earlier. Calls everybody Riley around here, even though Ethan now is insulted by it and everything.
Steve's son is here helping us out and directing things, and I've been calling him Riley. Riley was the producer 2 producers ago.
I was going to say, it's been a while.
We had Kobe in between. I called Kobe Riley for 6 months. What are you going to do?
Don't make I won't speak for Kobe or anybody, but I'll tell you this, right? Ethan will do dumb things to you on here, not make you look good.
I know.
So.
I don't need some funny mustache.
Hey, as Ethan's dad, trust me, he does some vindictive things sometimes when he gets mad. But in all seriousness, Lou joins us. Find him Gamblu.com, of course. Hit him up, Veasan, contributor for Veasan shows. You'll see him on some podcasts. His number UFC's come out as well. On Twitter and on X and things to that effect. And Lou, we got another morning UFC fight this weekend. We'll get into that in a little bit. You're shaking your head no, like a disappointed look on your face.
Gotta love it.
Okay, I'm not going to lie to you. I like these morning ones.
All about it.
It's not as big of a card for a guy like me. It's not as big as a card. But there's just something about rolling out of bed in the morning, or even laying in bed in the morning and waking up and just flipping it on Paramount Plus and then done by noon, and you're back home. Now, an hour later, it's a 10 a.m. start this week than last week was, but I love it as well. But, Lou, tell everybody where you are, what you're doing, of course, overseas again. Let's introduce you to our crowd that tunes into us with the overseas events.
Well, to anyone that tunes in, my name is Lou Finocchiaro. I'm a sports handicapper, been doing it for decades now. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to create a presence of myself in the gambling world, which is my webpage, Gamblu.com. There you can find out everything about me. I do. It says daily blog. They're really only about once a week, to be quite honest. But as football comes up and we get into these next weeks and start talking more, I'm going to put short, powerful positions together because there's so much misinformation and misdirection about what the real gambler should do right now anyway. Getting back to Gamblu, that's my platform. You can find out about me by hitting the tabs on the top of the web page. All the bands are there. And the one most dear to us is the far right one that Ethan's hitting right now, the San Xavier Del Bac mission, just south of Tucson, Arizona. It's the oldest mission in the States, and it's a recipient of direct Gamblu contributions through the webpage. We're happy to do it. We're happy to advertise it, and Steve gives me 30 or 40 seconds each week to discuss the webpage, our affiliation, and our allegiance and respect for the San Xavier mission. And then finally, my podcasts, which are 2 a week. One is on a Sunday that comes out. It's called the Sneak Teep Podcast. It's an opening line report that says, here's 5 or 6 fights from this card that opened here, and now the line's here. So we track early movement with those. And that's going to be much more important in the next few weeks as we move ahead, because everybody that's been betting the UFC the last 2 months, and that's a lot, are going to drop us like a hot potato and run to football as soon as the Hall of Fame game hits. So the market for the UFC will drop substantially. And so that's when you really want to look at some line changes. The second podcast is the Bout Business podcast. It's on Fridays. It's my final releases. You can get it by going to the webpage or wherever you get your podcasts, and thank you so much.
Absolutely. And Ann chimes in on the YouTube chat. Don't forget, live on YouTube now as well. We kind of kept it quiet. We were doing that. We're going to start promoting that for you, Lou, so everybody can watch us live here as well. But Ann chimes in on that chat and says, love the matching shirts. Yeah, we got together this weekend and decided, hey, which blue shirt are you wearing today? Yours is a Creighton shirt.
Mine's a Creighton shirt.
Yeah. Mine's just a regular.
So I'm blue and black, but
I'm at the age where I don't wear labeled stuff anymore.
I'm just happy to have the red background.
Exactly, to counteract it. from that side. But I didn't even notice that until she typed that
No,
in, of course,
not.
as well.
We're Ben. I didn't either.
Well, tell me about Saratoga, man. How's that going for you? Horse racing, you're
Well,
big into that.
I mean, I was all fired up yesterday, and it rained, and today it's going to rain. So I don't know if it's even going to run.
So no run. No, they don't delay it. What happens if it gets called out? Do they move it to another day, or does it just not go?
They shuffle like the UFC does. They react. I don't know how. I don't really have all those answers. I didn't
even think about that. Yeah,
you can't. I mean, we're in Phoenix. If you plan a picnic in Phoenix for November or February or March or June, it doesn't matter. When that day comes, you're having a picnic. Okay. When you live in the Midwest or the other parts of the country that have weather, you can plan a certain weekend. You're hoping a day before that the weather stays away. So I feel for Saratoga. That whole community thrives on this 6-week meet, and so you want them to have good weather, and I want them to have good weather. So, but last weekend I ended up pretty strong. So
do they? No, it's grass at Saratoga.
There's turf and dirt.
Okay, so they can run if it's wet. They just don't want to be puddled. I'm assuming. Am I wrong on that? They want
if
it dry.
Wet, if it's too wet, they'll take them off turf.
Yeah.
Because they can't tear up the sod.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
And they'll move them to dirt. Well, that makes you lose a lot of field because a lot of horses just run on grass, especially like European bred distance horses. They just run on grass.
Yeah,
and they're not going to run on dirt. So your fields change.
Okay.
Things get awful odd. It's like two lefties in a fight. However, that can provide great opportunities sometimes. And so a muddy day or an off track, I mean, you always hear it's a term that I endear to myself. He's a mudder. That means that horse likes to run in mud. That's a guy that's excels in off situations. And the racetrack today could be an off situation. Unfortunately, by the time I get to it, it's probably going to be, I'll only have 2 or 3 races left today after.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, the update is, I just happen to have the website up here.
Baby.
Races 2, 5, 9 are off the turf. Race 8 has been canceled today as well.
So only 7
coming up. So yep, some. So then they go into the wagers have been canceled and all of those rules. But so those adjustments have already been made. I'm watching the live broadcasting of it. It looks really cloudy right now. I don't see any rain coming down right now, but they're either anticipating it or, like you said, the ground has been damaged enough to where they can't have them run on of them and stuff. So they're moving it there.
They got bombed yesterday.
Yeah, so 8 could have been canceled because they moved it off the turf, and then horses were like, we can't run on that, and enough canceled, I guess. So, but that's what I was wondering. Now you do all that money, you get your horse into this event, and then it can't run, and then move it to another day.
I suppose every sport has its adapt and overcome.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now, the meet you want to be at, the meet that the jockeys are at, the meet that the trainers are at, is where the money is at. And where's the money at? The money's at Saratoga. So they all want to be there. They'll find a way to stay there, get there, arrive there, and do their best there.
Well, absolutely. So there's your Saratoga update.
That's why you like to bet it.
Yeah, absolutely. Lou's, he doesn't publish anything. You don't put anything out on Twitter about Saratoga
it's
or
so
anything.
difficult because I'm waiting. First of all, I'm listening a lot to the guys. Here's my best tip.
Yeah.
I use TVG, and they bring you live odds transmission. That's what I need from them. But the Fox Day at the Races, even though it's a good 3 minutes behind the TVG feed, they have horse specialists there, a couple young ladies, Maggie Wolfendale, and the other one, her name is Clement. Very attractive, but more than attractive, these girls are sharp, know the business, can tell if a horse has a pimple on its rear end or something. I mean, they're very good. In the Fox transmission with the gambling experts, Jonathan Kitchen, Paula Duca, ex-baseball player, they really feed you great information. So that on one TV, TVG here, in a racing form here, help me try and ascertain how I want to attack this. I'm not a professional horse player. Overall, the first year at Saratoga 2 years ago, I had a really good meet. So I was all that, thought I really knew what I was doing. Last year, I got clobbered. And so now I'm coming in with a little more respect this year. and I'm just starting out. I thought I'd let the early weeks in July kind of go, and now we've got about a good 5-week meet here as we start August. So this week is really going to be my first week in, but we're being affected by weather.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at the feed on the Saratoga site. They give you a preview, and then you can log in and do all that to get it. It's interesting because, like one of the, I think it's race 4, like 4 horses have scratched on that one. They're putting it. It's like a snow day. You know which schools are closed if you're from the snow area. Literally at the bottom it says race 4, and it has like 4 horses that are scratched. Right. One of them, like in race 5, a jockey change has happened because of the weather and the way they're racing race 5. So it's all right down the bottom. So it's changing as we are speaking out there. On all the changes that happened during. So race 4 is still going to go. It's just now they're without 4 horses.
None of which helps Saratoga, the transmission, the feed. Everybody, no one benefits by this weather. No one, I guess, except the agriculturalists in New York, and that's important. There's wine business up there, so I get they need rain, but it's just something we in Phoenix don't even think about.
Yeah,
like schedule it here. It's
like
here.
race 9's off. They just announced this. Race 9's off the turf, but it's going to be the same distance as the turf, but run on the dirt at that point. Maybe, changes race 9. It says right there. And then a bunch of horses are scratched in that one too.
All right. Well,
I know. I'm just saying. It's just
the
feed is interesting, is what I'm getting at here. And I'm fascinated by this rain thing because I didn't even think about that.
It's
how things can change on a rain day.
Especially here. It's okay. All Thursday, I groom my day. I'm going to get home at 1:45 and catch the last 3 races. You get there and it's like, it's not on TV. What happened? Well, there's only one answer.
Yeah, the bad answer, right? That we have to deal with that. But then we got NFL going on here. Like I was talking about this beforehand, before you came on here. I know you were in here and overheard me talking about it. Like the 49ers, right? They show up to camp. Christian Kirk has a calf injury. Jordan James has broken ribs now in a few days of camp. Ricky Pearsall's a knee injury, where his knee's swelling up from his knee injury last year again. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan's not there. Brandon Ayuk, he's got his own set of problems that I don't think is big of a distraction because they dealt with it last year. But this is what training camp can bring certain teams out there, Lou. So you liking that under on the Niners? Just kidding.
No, what I like is what I rely upon, and that is most journalists to be so starved to try and talk about something, okay? Because baseball is dry toast, bro. All right, we're in August and the dog days of baseball. It's before we're way before playoffs. And when a team comes to Phoenix and they're from Montreal or Toronto or New York or Milwaukee, they come to Phoenix, they go to Scottsdale at night. There's no playoff game. Now, when the playoffs hit, different story. But the dog days of August, when there's nothing to do in every VSiN, the network I contribute to, and they hate me talking like this. I'm Mr. Downer. The sports books, they hate me because I'm telling you, are you out of your mind? If you got to bet, you got to bet an under, but don't just start betting now because we're getting close. I try and bet. Everything on my webpage is designed so that my bets make money and we earn profit. I track all my results. And so it's about winning. It isn't about any kind of feeling I get because I place a bet. And so you have to try and resist what they want you to do because they're not selling tickets to baseball. They know it. And so they tell everybody to talk about football. And it's just Steve's a typical guy. He has to fill the airwaves. And so what's he going to talk about? And what's he fueling? Overreaction. Steve, please continue to be the
you want me to do that, Lou.
I'm happy about it. I'm not upset. I love it. I turn on Good Morning Football, and they're talking, and then I talk the ESPN show, and that gal they put on her makeup on with a paint roller. She's talking about stuff. So right now, everybody's talking and creating over opinion. Meanwhile, what I'm trying to do is do my study, team by team, game by game, week by week, and look at it like a complete oddball. I am trying to stay one step ahead of where everyone is, if that makes any sense. And so I have odd advice. odd approaches, but really good results.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about when I feel overreaction, folks. Carolina Panthers, Arizona Cardinals, Hall of Fame game next week. Carolina Panthers are minus 125 favorites going into this, plus 105 for your Arizona Cardinals coming up here.
That's on the money line there. What's
Yeah.
the first half money line?
I didn't look that up, Lou.
Yeah, because-
I just brought it up
because
just
I
to be
guarantee
just
you-
to be funny after your comment there.
Ain't nobody knows what's gonna.
No starters are even playing the first series in this. It just cracks me up, Alan.
That.
Yeah, I just saw it in here, so I just
so they're
sit
going to
there.
have it as a pick, and
Yeah.
and what was the total?
Total's
42?
36.5.
Yeah, so they'll have 18.5 and pick them because they don't know any more than me.
I know. No, I just brought that up just because
Anyway, the
you were making fun of me.
Diamondbacks.
That's what I want to bring up next. Your
Okay,
Diamondbacks.
Thank you. I was just
You are a
glaze
Torey
over
Lovello
them.
fan. You go to Diamondbacks games on Wednesdays and everything. And by the way, we'll get more into
Get out,
NFL
Dave.
obviously as preseason games start, and we'll start delving into that a little bit more. But D-backs second in the wild card standings, Lou. Going into after their game yesterday, they're off today as well. And it's funny because me and Dale yesterday with a closer situation, they moved their closer out now, and he blew another save. The lack of hitting, 3 for 27 in runners in scorer position. And you look at this team, and you can be so negative on them with the way they're playing. But then you go, wait a minute, they're second in the wild card standings. It is a weird dichotomy that we're facing with this Diamondbacks team. I know you love them. I know you like what they do out there. You're excited they're in that second spot. So
I don't love. I
Oh,
love my
you love
wife
'em.
and family.
yeah, you love them.
I really like. I really like this coach for the Diamondbacks though,
Yeah.
because I believe that he's done more with less for several years. I mean, they went to the World Series for crying out loud a couple years ago out of nowhere. He hasn't forgotten how to coach. It's hard to win. They got those big, huge bully Dodgers with unlimited budget, and that's the way the rules write. So that's who they got to contend with. But meanwhile, we're just on the other side of the break. It's getting the important part of the season. And instead of 5 games behind the Padres like they were all first half, they're 3 or 4 games ahead of them. So I'm not here
I think
to
they're
tell you they're winning
I think
the
they're
World
game
Series.
and a half up in the wild card standings, if I remember right.
I'm not
Yeah.
here to tell you they're winning the World Series. I'm here to tell you that I believe this team will start playing their best ball as we move on. And let's see if that happens. And I think it's because of the coach, the chemistry, what they've been building. And it takes a lot to win. We'll see. But right now, I'm really happy for that coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's just an interesting position to be in, but you can't deny the fact that they're in that second wildcard spot, fighting for a wildcard spot
That's what Bill
with 2 weeks
Parcells
to go.
says.
Yeah.
You are what your record
Yeah.
says you are, man.
Yeah, it is amazing to see. And look, Lou, I know I give you a hard time and say that you love them, and I know you don't like that term when it comes to sports, but you go to the day games and you like Torey Lovello, and you see it. And your opinion of the Diamondbacks are they're going to go on a run here and fight for this playoff spot. I'm assuming.
Well, I have them to make the playoffs from the beginning of the season, and I have the Padres to miss. So that race I've been watching that all season long, and I just finally got a nose in front. We'll see if we can keep it. It just depends. But from the beginning of the season, I thought that the Diamondbacks could be a playoff team in the wake of the Dodgers. Let's see if they can get that done. I know I'm rooting for them, and whatever my couple unit bet is on it, it doesn't matter to me. I'd rather lose it if it meant the D-backs did better.
Yeah,
I really
right.
do.
Yeah.
I really respect what that coach does.
Yeah, it is funny. And yes, folks, those of you that watch the whole sports program, I get a lot of flack for people go, you don't like Torey Lovello. No, I think he's a good coach. I just think it's time the Diamondbacks move on from him and things of that. So it is funny, and then you fully support him from that side. So it is an interesting perspective here that we deal with.
Opinions
here.
are what make the world go round, and good radio is oftentimes built on varying opinions. If you can just be delivered with some form of respect, it usually benefits the listener.
Everybody, everybody has opinions. There's no doubt about that.
And one more thing, by the way, since I'm interrupting also.
No, you're all good.
I came in ready to talk a little bit about the Cardinals if you want.
Yeah, well,
I'm not afraid to talk a
let's
little
go
football
if you're ready. I don't want to step on your toes and when you want to start unveiling stuff.
There's
but
so many unknowns with the Cardinals.
Well,
right?
well, I agree with you on that. And I'll tell you what I did, Jerry, before you talk about that. You can laugh at me if you want.
Set me up.
I took the Cardinals over 3.5 for the season.
You slime ball.
$10.
Because you listened to me earlier on.
Well, you and I read an article and I started thinking it's hard. This is my thought process. It's hard to only win 1 or 2 games. It's almost like you have to try to win 1 or 2 games, meaning you want to win that. I think there's 3, 4. I think there's 4 wins for the Cardinals on the schedule, and things to that effect. New head coach means they're not going to quit on this coach, probably. You're hoping throughout the season. This isn't like last year with Jonathan Gannon. Will they quit on him? Stuff like that. Young team, but a team that has a lot of talent on it. I think there's some wins maybe early in the season. And that, surprised a couple of these playoff contending type teams. So that's why I did it. I did it about a week ago now, over 3.5 Arizona Cardinals for me. So that's my thought process with them. I'm not saying they're winning a Super Bowl. I think they can get to 5 wins this year. If everything goes right for them, they can get to 5 wins this year. So that's why I went that route.
I tend to agree with all of that. The question will be that how terrible the defense was last year and what they've done almost nothing to fix it. As far as my approach to the Cardinals is their first 9 games, 6 are away and 3 are at home. Listen to who they're at. Chargers, Niners, Rams, Seahawks,
losses,
Cowboys.
Yeah, a win.
I mean, those first 9 games are hatchet matches. Maybe at New York is manageable, but by that time, if they're 1-5 or 1 or 4, then he's going to be nervous. Number one, and
I'm expecting him to be there.
Lou, going to adjust.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how I look at it. I'm not in a hurry. I'm very bullish on Arizona, and if they win 2 games of those first 9, then I'm going to be out of opportunity. But I'm going to plan on them having a tough time with that first 9 games of their schedule. And if they go into that 1-8, 2-7, their season total wins is still only going to be 3 or 4 games. And it's at that point in time where I might jump on board, because when I look at the second half, I'm not afraid of at Kansas City. Kansas City's a team I don't believe in this year. Versus Washington, versus Philly, late bye, not bad. Then Jets, New Orleans, Raiders. Bing. 1, 2, 3. That's late. That's week.
That's what I'm banking on, Lou.
15, 16, and 17. So you're really backloaded in the schedule. So rather you can take them early. I would not discourage anybody. I would also take a look at 4.5 and go over the 4.5, where you're going to get ridiculously plus number.
You get a huge number there.
Their defense is going to have to improve. Their offensive line, 26th ranked, is going to have to find some way to protect that quarterback and that new coordinator.
They've improved that offensive line this offseason.
26th ranked is, I believe, what my people tell me, and
it's what they're going to be this year.
That's what they are coming into the season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But they've improved their left side of the line with Paris Johnson Jr. Holy cow, I forgot the cat's name that they brought in, the veteran. The left sides have been well improved, and so you're on the same page. I know we're on the same. I know we talk, so it's not like this is all my idea.
Williams, they brought in a guard named Biscotti.
Yeah, they
got a D lineman named Proctor. That guy, I think.
Well, he's out for the season with a knee injury from the draft.
Yeah,
but you're getting Walter Nolan's healthy. He's been in practice. If he can stay healthy, you're getting him, quote unquote, back. Walter Nolan.
If is also the biggest word you'll hear this time of year.
Yeah.
If my aunt had whiskers, she'd be my uncle.
No, but we're thinking the same here, because I know
I'm bullish on the Cards.
Yes, I know. I kind of thought about that, but I'm like, Giants are. If you just look at their strength, because you didn't name their home games either, by the way, which is Seattle. They
have the number one.
So they're on the road with tough matchups, but then they come home and you don't get really big of a break.
No, they have the worst strength of schedule.
I think the Giants on the road, it's going to be tough on the road, of course, but that's an easy. So if you can get 1, or dare I say 2 early season, like you said, that back half, and I don't think this team will quit on their coach, because he's a new coach, right, and a young coach on top of that. So I think the end of the schedule with the Jets, Saints, Raiders, you've got kind of a you got kind of a run that could possibly happen for this Cardinals late in the season. It's going to upset everybody, Lou.
Well,
because everybody wants them to get that number 1 draft pick.
You're not going to. I don't think you're going to have much room to wiggle going into that Jets game. So after that bye, those 3 games are going to be huge for the Cards, and that's when we'll know, where we stand.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I love to find and I'm not releasing the Cardinals yet. I'm just telling you, I'm not afraid of them. And the reason I'm not releasing them is because in 2 weeks, if Brissett has a shoulder injury, I don't have money on him yet. I'm good. Okay. I'll bet an under on team X, Y, or Z because that injury only helps me and helps me win my bet. I'm in it to win money. And so I'm not going to bet stupid and bet a team to go to the Super Bowl, to win the Super Bowl, to win to their division, to exceed their total. No, I'm not doing that. They want me to, but I'm not a sucker. I'm not doing it.
Well,
I'm only going to do it if an injury can benefit me. Do I want anyone to get injured? No, but is the reality of this sport injuries? Listen to Steve's half hour before I came on rattling off a bunch of freaking third-string guys that
what I'm getting at is Niners were the most injured team last year, or one of the most injured teams last year, still made a playoff run, right? And we're still good. Are injuries going to go away for them coming up here as you look at their number on the line? That's what you have to decide. It wasn't
just last year. It's been for like the last 3 years, and they're even to the point where they practice under power line. So they're thinking they got to move them.
Yes.
I mean, there's that much talk about it, to be honest. But
so
normally,
that's the perspective on the Niners that I'm just presenting to people is, how long do you continue with all these injuries happen? Now it's preseason and early in camp. Purcell's going to be fine, in the long run. But if you're looking at that and you're projecting into the season with injuries for them, just go, maybe one of these years it's just got to fall apart for them. You would think, but it hasn't yet. That's for sure.
They were decimated with injuries last year, and Shanahan kept it together. But this Shanahan thing can't be good. What's happened
with the accident?
I don't know how that helps that team, to be honest, and the way it's been handled. And so,
I brought up that scenario today too. I mean, put it in this perspective because somebody reported they asked for the body cams and the police report and the 911 call through the FOIA request. And they came back and said, we're not releasing that stuff. So you're going to have to do a lawsuit now. So I brought up this point earlier in the show. Just put yourself in the scenario of December, maybe January, playoffs are going on. And all of a sudden you win the lawsuit, whoever the journalist is or the entity wins the lawsuit. And then they're releasing that stuff. And let's say it doesn't look good for Shanahan.
Shanahan and the NFL have more money than anyone that's going to sue them, and that'll get pushed off the season.
Because then all of a sudden you have this giant distraction going into the playoffs or
creating
something.
Fables with that. Don't run away with yourself. Good God, you're worse than my wife. If this happens, then this will happen. I'm like, but if monkeys jump out of my ear, here's what'll happen.
I'm just saying, you can have an added distraction at some point later on this year.
Let's talk about real teams. So you got another team you want to
Sayamalu, by the way, is the other left offensive lineman I was thinking about that they signed this weekend. The Arizona Cardinals' left side of the offensive line is pretty solidified. The right side's more of kind of a question with Adams getting in trouble with stuff out there. Well, I wanted to ask you because you did talk about Ravens under, I believe it was 11.5 a few weeks ago. Things of that. Warren Sharp, I saw the other day, revised his easiest and hardest schedules out there. And Ravens are the 5th easiest schedule, according to him, on his revision here as well. Now, new coach, new coaching staff. Defense has fallen apart these last few years. I kind of have to rebuild that a little bit there. Change your opinion at all on the Ravens with the least number of the schedule?
Of the information. No, I had that information in early June or in early July. That's how I build these things off Warren Sharp's work, and so I track that. And if you want to talk about Baltimore, just give me a minute.
Pull it up. But no, that's just all it was. It just as an update because when you see these revisions and changes, it's just fun for me to come back and just see if what Uncle Lou thinks.
You lead me right in. 5th easiest strength of schedule, but they play against way tougher defenses this year. Yeah, Jesse Minter comes in. He was the defensive backs coach for Baltimore some years ago. He comes in his first year to be head coach, new offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator. Minter's a defensive-minded guy. You got the whole regime of Harbaugh going out and I saw an interview with the quarterback yesterday, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Tell him, he's once I pick this up, we're going to just, because it's going to be quick and he's pushing us. And so it's a new offense for Lamar Jackson. And Lamar Jackson is a quarterback that I believe is most effective when he's using his spontaneity and he's running the football. And now, as a mature guy coming off injuries, I believe that's going to be quelled. That part of his quarterbacking is going to go away. And as they try and make him more stable, I'm not saying he's not going to run. I'm sure he will. It'll be more guarded. They got to worry about injury, but that means he's going to have to do more deciphering of defenses quick. And I don't believe that's a skill that's one of his strengths. And so now we're going to put pressure on the quarterback position with a whole new offensive system. And the schedule is great. Offensive line ranked 24th. Okay, that's why he was beat up last year. Their offensive line couldn't stop anybody. Net rest -3 days through the schedule they have of net rest over or against opponents. That's the 8th worst in the NFL. So offensive line ranked 24th. Wide receiver group ranked 25th. Head coach now coming in, at least to Warren, ranked 27th.
Yeah.
So I think this is going to be a very difficult schedule and a very difficult assimilation for what's left of this Raven team, especially a defense that's somewhat questionable and has lost some people. They brought in Calais Campbell. Great move, because he's going to add spirit and tradition to him. He does wherever he goes. But I think that's not going to be enough. And I think that NFC North is all going to look like mashed potatoes together. Yeah, maybe Cleveland a little lower. But I don't believe in Cincy. I don't believe in Baltimore. And I kind of believe in Pittsburgh.
You kind of believe in Pittsburgh with Aaron Rodgers, huh?
I see those three being much more closely clumped together than many might.
Yeah, Cincinnati, I think, barring Burrow's health, I think Cincinnati's poised to stick their head back up again this year. Now it all comes down to health with them, right?
Well,
and how they look.
They have the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Burrow's health.
They do nothing.
But that's what I mean. Burrow's health has to do that, where they're going to score a lot of points to outdo it to kind of have you out there.
That ain't how a championship team is built to me. But
that's
see.
Also not how you play in that division with the Ravens and the Steelers. Even when their defenses are bad, their defenses still are pretty good.
Yeah.
So. No, those are the ones. Next week we'll continue on it because I do have questions. You mentioned that we'll talk about it next week. The Chiefs, the Texans are somebody I'm kind of watching right now. They got Tank Dell back. He's been cleared to practice again, but he's coming off some serious leg injuries and things to that effect. So we'll keep it rolling here over the next couple of weeks as well, leading into
the season. Get sucked into the NFL pretty easy.
Oh, that's the problem. I could talk all day in the NFL, and it's way too early to do so.
Well, not if you're talking about it like this.
No, but then the Detroit Lions are I just don't know what to expect from them. New offensive coordinator, new defensive coordinator.
Easiest schedule.
Everybody's expecting them to kind of win that division right now. All the hype is they're going to come back and win that division.
Yeah,
I just sit here and I go, man, I just are unknown about them a lot. So those are the questions that we'll talk about and kind of lead into go in that. Yeah, no, it's fascinating. And like I said, the Niners are a big question, but Seahawks, new offensive coordinator up there. I think that's a bigger loss than people are giving it. People just think Seattle's going to show up and win another 14 games and have the same offense. Folks, they lost Kubiak, best offensive coordinator in the game these last couple of years. And people are telling me that they're going to go out there and do exactly what they did last year. I don't see it coming. And I don't know why I'm so alone on that. Don't get me wrong; they're still going to be good.
They're
going to still be good.
Seattle.
Yeah, I don't. They're still going to be good, but they're not going to be rolling like they were last year and things to that. To me, the Rams are the best team in this division. So we'll have to wait and see on that. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback questions now with Baker. Their defensive lineman wants to be traded, and it's that fun time of year, Lou, where we get to talk about that and everything.
Both running backs, Bijan Robinson and Gibbs, are holding out. I mean, it's all everything that the people on the TV got to talk about.
It'd be interesting to know what the Atlanta Falcons over/under was, because Michael Penix isn't back from his knee injury yet. They got Tua in there. He's too injured to practice right now. So they just had to sign a guy off the couch, and I don't even remember who's on that team right now. Then Bijan's sitting out holding in because of a contract dispute and everything. It's like, man, so I started wondering if I should have had that under on the Falcons, whatever that was a few weeks ago before all this happened.
Well,
but those are the questions we'll talk
if
about.
If anything, it should reinforce what I'm saying about
Yes.
trying to just take negative positions. I'm not a negative guy, even though overall I bet nos and unders. And it's not because I'm negative. It's because the average Joe bets the chalk and over.
Yeah.
And if they're going to tax the over, I'm going to take the advantage and go the other way. Overall, as a philosophy, not every game.
It's like schedule. Everybody thinks everybody's better than what they are. It's like schedule release day.
Well,
I joke around that
they're all headed for the playoffs.
Yeah, that schedule comes out and everybody goes, my team's going to go 15-2. And it's like, so it cracks
Jet
me up.
fans
Everybody's
may not say that, but almost every other.
Everybody's optimistic about their things, right? And Speaking of optimism, another UFC fight overseas. Let's take our break here real quick. Come back. Couple of questions on last week's fight. Mike Davis, we're going to talk about, Lou. Prepare yourself for this talk. Because
you think you're going to beat me up worse than I beat myself up?
Well, that's what I want to bring up. You were beating yourself up pretty difficult on that fight. We'll talk about him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, a couple other ones on there as well. And then go ahead to this weekend. Coming up as well, this weekend in Serbia fights, 10 a.m. main card on Saturday morning. Come on back, folks. Main event with Uncle Lou. And we're back here. Main event with Uncle Lou. We got some NFL talk in here. Of course, talked some D-backs fun there. Saratoga earlier in the segment. But Lou's in here to talk a little UFC as well. Last weekend over there in the Arab Emirates is where the fight happened. A couple of fights I wanted to ask you about. Now, Mike Davis, I know you were high on last week. In your podcast, you took him with the points. Then he went out there, and then afterwards, you could just tell with the tone on Twitter. I was telling you before that I almost texted you like, you all right, man? Because you were, you could kind of tell through the Twitter line that you're disappointed in how that fight went with Aliyev. If you don't know how it went, basically it was just a wrestling match, no striking happening at all. Ended up being a unanimous decision after 3 rounds here. And I asked Lou off air, and I'll see if I can, ask it in the right way here. Mike Davis, you expected Mike Davis to be able to get in a little bit of a boxing match with him. Is that a bad handicap? Or is that just Davis allowed Aliyev to wrestle him the whole time and wasn't able to get out of it? Or is it just you expected to happen and Davis wasn't able to get it done?
Davis, if you watch, showed brilliant jiu-jitsu while on the ground in the first and second round by getting up off his back from a guy that's impossible to get up on. He knew he was going to have to do this, but not as incessantly as it was. As mixed martial arts should be ruled, Aliyev won the fight, but he won it based on top control. He inflicted no damage. Mm-hmm. Davis needed to be able to stand at range, or at least try and find a way to sting the local fighter and create enough advantage where he could keep him at the end of his punches. He just couldn't keep him off him. In a day and age where the UFC is evolving quickly away from that smothering grappler, I chose to take the dog in the grappler's hometown against the grappler, and I pay my price for taking that position.
Okay.
It wasn't close. I'm up. I don't like when I miss that bad. I should have known to stay away. I couldn't. I didn't. I pay, and we move on.
Next up, Dustin Jacoby ends up losing his light heavyweight bout there against Saidov. Sorry, I just all of a sudden forgot how to say his name there. Second round KO in this fight here for Dustin Jacoby. Loss here. He was the favorite going into this fight, Jacoby was. What happened in this fight, and does it change your opinion about Jacoby?
Well, he's on his way out anyway, and the Saeed Muhammad, just a young guy too fast and touched him up and knocked him good. too young, too strong. Those are two ships passing in the night.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean it was an upset, but you had mentioned that last week on a Jacoby as well.
No, we had Kuniev in a parlay
Yeah.
against Fortune. He did the slow dance, what we thought would
With
happen.
Fortune, yeah. Well, it ended up being a KO in that third round. Fortune, he got to his ribs, and look, give Fortune a lot. He's a tough son of a gun.
No doubt.
Yeah, they'd be
And willing.
in the second round. His ribs, I think it was the second round. You could tell he had rib damage, stayed in there. The commentators were like, they should have stopped that fight, meaning the corner beforehand and protect him from himself. But and I tend to agree with that. He was damaged. But man, what Fortune and his toughness was an amazing thing to watch, even though it was
Kuniev and his
fight.
size and might wasn't so bad either.
Yeah. Oh, from that perspective, yes, absolutely.
And then the main event was Frankenstein against freaking Mummy.
Before I get to that, Tamirov and Ursig. This was a pick'em fight here. First round KO for Tamirov here. Bringing this up because there's a pick'em fight going into it here between these two guys. Quick work here by Tamirov over Ursig. Change any opinions on Ursig at all with his loss?
No, it changes my opinion on Tamirov. The guy's a little bulldog. We'll see who can stand up to him. He ran right through Ursig. Ursig's a guy who can manage distance pretty good, but he needed to navigate this fight into the second round where Tamirov slowed down, get all swole up. He couldn't get it there. So hats off to Tamirov.
And then finally, you mentioned the main event here. I'm going to bring this up because one thing I've learned to kind of chuckle about when I'm watching UFC fights on Paramount Plus is, man, the announcers do their job. They hype these events up, these matches up.
Sure.
Oh, Guskov coming in, supposed to fight next week. He's ready to go. Yeah, he was training for a 3-rounder. So he's ready for a 5, and this is going into this match. It's going to be fantastic. In a 5/5 round, KO eventually in this fight here and everything. And he was a big underdog going into that. But I love the hype up. And then the fight happens. And they did it a couple times with some big favorites where they're like, oh, this guy's coming in and he's going to be able to do it. And then the fight happens and they're like, well, that you guys look silly hyping it that way. So that is a side note I'm enjoying with Paramount Plus. Absolutely. And I'm enjoying that little side bet. But I will give Guskov a little bit of credit here. Big underdog, but made it to the 5th round. Eventually got KO'd here. But Ankalaev, just, man, like you said, it's slow fight. This was not an action-packed bout.
If you're buying tickets to stand in line as to who went to the 4th or 5th round with Ankalaev, the line's around the building. So there's that.
So you're saying everybody does it, is what you're saying.
Stepped up too much, and it showed. It was a one-sided Ankalaev fight, but Ankalaev isn't really a finisher. I mean, here's a guy against a guy that if you sneeze on Paul Craig, he gets knocked out. Went to the 5th round against Ankalaev on his debut, by the way. And with 2 seconds left in the 5th round, Paul Craig subbed Ankalaev. So Ankalaev is a good, solid Russian light heavyweight fighter. That's it.
Okay. Maybe I was shocked it went 5 rounds for a guy, but like you said last week, replacement fighter, but as a replacement fighter for both of them going into this, so the styles change going into it and stuff to that effect. Now this weekend we go to Serbia here, Belgrade Arena here from Serbia. This weekend, 10 a.m. is the main card again this week. Again, Lou, these fights you get a lot of regional guys in here. We do have women fighters in this fight as you go to Serbia as opposed to the Middle East area there.
Just one, though, right?
I think there's 2. Recall. Stephanie Luciano is one of them, and then Haley Cohen is another one there as well. All prelims here for this early one coming up in this one. But I'm going to leave it to you on the prelims, and you tell us which prelims we need to tune into here and pay attention to, because it's a lot of I don't knows on here in this prelim, starting 7 a.m. our time on the West Coast here, coming up this weekend on Saturday.
13 fights. 7 fights at 170 or more, so we get some big boys swinging. That's a good thing in a big cage. Serbia, they're going to be the rabid fight fans. Doesn't matter where you go, but they want to see quivering bodies on the ground. 17 countries represented, hugely international card. And so many have to travel in, and most traveling in have to then face who? A Serbian, or a Montenegrin. That's another country right next to there. You've got fighters from Poland, Austria. So there's regional fighters all around. We need to know who those are and who they're fighting. That has to travel in from Canada, U.S., etc. So we go to one fight that we should be taking a look at, and that's Michael Oliveira. He's a Contender Series fighter making his debut. He comes in a big, heavy favorite over a guy named Oban Elliott coming in from Wales. Oban Elliott is underachieved, and he's talking about his new mental capacity and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of the day, he definitely has experience, UFC experience over the Oliveira, who's going to be physically imposing, looking next to him, 6-inch reach advantage. That'll be a really, really great fight that Oban Elliott may be someone I'm looking at. And oh, by the way, he's the one that travels least, although Wales is a good distance. It happens to be a good distance away from Belgrade.
Let me ask you that. What did this fight open up at? Oliveira's, what was his number at the open?
Minus 275.
And he's minus 345 now. So that's moved really big his way.
Yeah, they're betting him.
I knew it was going his way. I wasn't sure how much.
They're putting him in parlays. Okay. I'm usually trying to bust those anyway. Another good fight there. Here's a guy from Montenegro, Dustin Todorovic. He's taking on a guy shipping in from Switzerland, Valentin. Valentin can grapple and wrestle a little bit, but he wants to stand and throw, and so does Todorovic. This should be a really fascinating fight. Both guys about the same size, reach. Well, I take that back. Valentin has about 3-inch reach advantage on him, so that's an advantage in a stand-up fight, which I expect this to be. Opening Valentin minus 130. Now he's what? Minus 155.
Minus 162. And we use DraftKings on Thursday morning is where we're getting these numbers.
So shop around there. That should be a great fight. Not sure I really know who could win there. I lean to Valentin, but because he's a favorite, I'm not ready to release him yet.
Over under on that fight's 1.5, but minus 130 to the under.
Yeah, I like the over quite a bit on that one.
Yeah.
Next fight is 185. And this is an interesting fight. Gil Urbina ships in, 6'3", going to be a couple 2-3 inches taller than his Serbian counterpart. Urbina's lost his last 2, and 3 of his last 4 he's lost by knockout in the first round. The guy's very chinny. However, he's aggressive and comes right at you, and he's trying to knock you out. And he gets this little anvil of a Serbian fighter that comes in from Octagon. This is his debut. His name is Sipo. Sipo's a finisher and a slugger. Sipo opens minus 400. Now he's what? Minus 300.
355 right now.
Now he's minus 355. This is your fight designed to stir the crowd up and get everybody excited. This is an absolute setup fight. And we've already used Sipo in our Gamblu.com page. If you want to get that release, you can check it out there.
Yep, on the blog.
And that's really what I got. Then there's a Romanian, a guy named Bogdan Grad, and he looks like Nosferatu, a skinny, bald-headed ghoul. He fights this guy named Dennis Bazooka from
really
the
quick.
U.S.
Folks, he does. I wouldn't have gotten that, but now that Lou mentions it,
that's exactly what he looks like. If you see the fight, you'll say, you're looking at the picture of Nosferatu there. It be that as it may, he's a decent fighter. He's got some power. He's fighting a guy in Dennis Bazooka. Doesn't do well to power. He's lost his last 3. Bazooka's shipped in to be a subject, but he don't like that idea too well. The money's actually come in on Bazooka a little bit. Grad open minus 250. What's he now, Steve?
He is minus 198.
Yeah, so there's been a little money come in on Bazooka here. That should be another good fight. The early part of this card, there'll be some compelling fights on. Okay. I'm just not sure how active I'm going to be there. I tend to do better when I focus on fewer fights and main card, where I really think that I have advantage in my matchups.
Yeah. And that's a featherweight bout, the Grad Bazooka one. That over under 2.5 minus 145 to the over for that featherweight bout there, just so people have those numbers as of right now as well. Then getting into that main card, right? I mean, my UFC page has this really out of order here.
And mine are too, so we may not get these in order.
Exactly, but we'll say Alexander Rakic here against Tybura here in this battle heavyweight bout. We have a let me get the update here. I want to say it's a 350 favorite for Rakic right now going into this fight. Serbia, Poland battling it out.
Actually, Rakic is a Serbian, but he lives in Austria. But,
okay. They have a list of
Serbia. He's an Austrian living in Serbia right now. Anyway, he switched camps and now lives in Serbia, be that as it may. 2 inches taller, 34 years old, 6 years younger. However, Rakic is moving from light heavyweight to heavyweight. So his last weigh-in was 205 or 206. And he's fighting a guy in Tybura who's 40 years old, 6 years the older man. He'll be taller than Tybura, and he'll look the more fit guy. Tybura's kind of pudgy. But Tybura has 8 subs. Rakic, not having to lose the weight, yada, 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 enters having lost his last 3, Mirzakurnov, Ankalaev, and Yuri Prochaska. 3 top guys in that division. So it's going to be interesting to see how he reacts to the heavier weight, and if Tybura can take him late, this should be a fascinating fight. But I want to lean to Rakic, but I ain't paying that price. Maybe Rakic inside the distance. We'll have to
345 is his price, minus 345 right now. Over under 1.5, minus 220 to the over as well. Coming up in this fight as well.
What is he via finish?
Let me look it up for you here.
Perfect.
Stall for me for a second while I pull that up.
That'll keep him busy for 15 minutes while we talk further about this fight. So Rakic, what does he weigh in? Does he weigh 255? Because to me, that'll be too much too soon. Does he weigh 238? And then he's going to be giving away massive size and girth to a grappler in Tybura. And so there's a lot of questions in this fight. But if Rakic has it his way, he's keeping Tybura at the end and going to try and kick him or knock him out.
Yeah, Rakic
to win by finish.
KO is plus 120, submissions plus 1,400, decision plus 180 from that side.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so that's an interesting fight. And here's another fight: Prepolek and Rebecki. Rebecki, 2 inches taller, he's square. Okay, he's a short, little sawed-off, bald Polish howitzer. This is a 155-pound lightweight fight. Rebecki gets marked up. You sneeze on him, you'll cause a 5-inch cut. I mean, the guy just wears it poorly, but he's a short Joe Frazier bobbing and weaving to get inside and land these huge body hooks, chin crosses, kicks, knees. From in close, this guy's really dangerous, but he takes a lot of whooping. And he's in a fight against a guy in Prepolek that's going to be 3 inches taller, comes in off defeats to Drew Dober and Benoit Saint Denis. And both these guys are lefties. That's going to throw an oddity into this fight where Prepolek is not totally out of this thing. And if you look at the price, they got Rebecki at minus what, 500?
Minus 700 right now.
I mean, they're just betting Rebecki like they know the final score. Prepolek is not as bad as that line indicates.
He's plus 500 right now.
That's all I'll say. He's better than a 5-1.
Over under 1.5 on this, minus 166 to the over in this fight as well. But yeah, that's a big line change there.
If you like Prepolek, you got to lean over. You got to hope it goes over because that's how he's got to beat Rebecki, is take him deep and let him look all swole up and slice him up.
And then I got to flip through this because this page is all messed up here this weekend as we deal with that. Jan Blachowicz and Navajo Sterling back in the ring.
Co-main. Let's go to
Give me the next one.
Let's go to Ludovic Klein and Musayev.
They have that one listed as a prelim fight on my page. So
yeah. So Tofik Musayev and Klein, and it could be, but I can tell you it's going to be a great fight. Klein from Slovakia comes in after beating Rebecki, the guy we just talked about, the sawed-off Polish shotgun. So Klein's pretty capable fighter, primarily a stand-up guy, lefty. So he's odd. He opened minus 130. Now he's minus what, 250?
265.
Yeah. So they're steaming Klein, and I think that they're making a mistake So here's another mistake that I think they're making that it could be me. Now, Musayev's an Azerbaijan fighter, so he should have been on the card last week. Isn't. 36 years old. He's 5 years older than Klein, but he's 3 inches taller. And he's a vice grip wrestler with some good hands. He beat, in his last fight, a guy named Bahamondes, who Klein has also beaten. So they come in, should be an interesting fight, but the steam to the local Klein might be a little unwarranted. Musayev might be someone I'll be looking at.
Over under 2.5 minus 175 to the over for this lightweight bout here between these two guys. So small guys in that big cage.
Yeah, 55-pounders, but I could easily see this go to decision. That's why Musayev maybe plus the 3.5, depending on what kind of price that would be, could be of interest.
Right now it's minus 110. What it's sitting at for right now as well.
And what's the total?
2.5.
2.5.
Over. Minus 175 to the over.
Right. Okay. I like how that sets up.
So there you go, folks. And then is there any other ones, Lou, before we get to that co-main event?
Now we go to Jan Blachowicz
the
and
UFC's,
Navajo Sterling. I'll just save you the embarrassment.
Well,
you got to know his last name, though. He's been fighting for years.
I know.
He's a 43-year-old fighter, and we've covered him many times.
Yes. I'm distracted, Lou.
Well,
I was trying to figure out where everybody's at.
You haven't missed one that bad in a year. I
got, if you guys, behind the scenes here, the UFC page that I rely on is all out of order. And then I'm trying to find it on the gambling apps while I'm trying to find out, and I got all distracted and messed up. That's my excuse.
You're doing a lot of stuff.
But Navajo Sterling's back in the ring here as well, and he's the favorite going into this fight.
Yeah, he takes it on short notice. And why? Because Guskov, who Blachowicz was supposed to fight, took the fight this last week to go jump up and fight Ankalaev, creating a hole. So this big, huge, tall Aussie walks in. He's 2 inches taller than Blachowicz. He's 15 years younger at 28 than Blachowicz. He's way greener, hasn't fought that kind of competition. This is a huge step up for him. But Blachowicz is 43 years old, and though he's been in with great ones, he 2 fights ago fought who is the current champion, Aussie Carlos Olberg, to a fight where he could have easily won the decision, but they gave it to the Aussie. Okay, fair fight, but razor close. So if Blachowicz was 38, I could easily see me taking him. If that last fight that he had was against Carlos Olberg, I'd still maybe want to take him. But the one thing this year I've really tried to limit myself with is taking guys so much older than another guy. The younger guy, Sterling's going to be bigger, longer, faster, youthful. It scares me. Pass.
And over-under on this one is over 2.5 minus 215 to the over for this light heavyweight co-main event here in the fight from Serbia this weekend.
Yeah, I really like the over there. I think Blachowicz will have to get in close and take him down. And if he does, that's his path to victory. And so I do like over.
And then we got the main event here coming up here. 10 a.m. is when the main card starts. This is scheduled for 12:15 for those of us out here on the West Coast. Madik and Daniel Rodriguez battling it out. United States, Serbia. And this is another one of those main event cards where it's a big favorite. Madik is a 395 favorite right now going into this welterweight final of bout.
Yeah, so about a year and a half ago, D-Rod, Daniel Rodriguez. D-Rod is a fighter that is not a mixed martial artist. He's a street fighter. He grew up fighting in the LA prison system and streets. He's as authentic as the Diaz brothers are. He's got some grappling, but he's really going to go out there and try and light you up. He had a fight 15 months ago, 16 months ago, 13 months ago. And then afterwards, he and some buddies decided to go down to Mexico, have some fun. And entering the country, he got ascertained for having stuff in his pocket that cost him 8 months in a Mexican prison. That's how long he was there. And while he was there, he said he could train, but you can't train mixed martial arts in a prison. And surely your nutrition would be so averse. for that 8 months that there'd have to be a reaction. Now, he's taken time and come back, but mentally and physically, how prepared can he be to have to travel across the world and now take on this Medic, who is a, formidable striker and fighting as a Serbian in Serbia, who in his last fight after an impressive knockout called for an event in Serbia, and the UFC granted his wish. So this is going to be a huge main event for Serbia and Medic. Rodriguez is put there to be the subject. Rodriguez is looking for a movie contract about his time in the Mexican prison and being a UFC fighter. He's got other designs, and I think it's hard not to like Medic in this situation.
Yeah. Well, they agree with you. As I said, he's a 310. I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. He's a 395 favorite going into this. Over under, by the way, 1.5. Under 1.5 is the number here. Minus 195 to the under right now is what we're looking at for this main event fight here coming up this weekend from Serbia. That's a long plane flight too, from LA to Serbia to get ready for that main event fight.
It is. I mean, it's the Polish, the Austrians, they have it easy. Switzerland's not terrible. Montenegro, they drive their car, but there's a Sweden, so there's a little travel there. There's a France, there's some travel there.
So good fight this weekend. Tune in as always. Get up early. Well, not early. I mean, it's
Bagels
7 a.m. is the main,
beatdowns.
right?
Lattes and left hooks.
I like these morning ones. I get spoiled with them, and then it goes back to 7 p.m. and I'm like, oh.
Well, I like the morning ones because then it leads me right into Saratoga.
Yeah, well, that's true for you on that. Absolutely. And then, of course, this weekend it leads you right into SummerSlam for those of you, that like a
What's
little
that?
fun in your life. Wrestling. Don't worry about it, Lou. You don't like it.
You mean wrestling?
Yeah, wrestling. But then we come back to the States next week. We get an Apex fight next week coming up there from Las Vegas, 5
that
p.m. start
headliner?
there. This is the Gamrot and Salkid? Salkid?
Oh, Gamrot and Salkid.
Yeah,
Short
let me look
Polish
it up.
wrestler.
Let me look it up, make
against
sure.
a
Yep.
long Aussie striker,
Yep.
BJJ.
Yeah, that's
That'll
the
be
main.
a great fight.
That's the main card there as well
That'll be a
for
good
that.
fight.
Australian and a Poland fighter, as you said, that main one there. Then after that, we go to Philadelphia, Sacramento.
I mean, we rattle them off, man.
and then go to
I mean,
China.
I don't get a week off until
I
early
know.
September.
Yeah, it's
I
a
think.
long time here. Football season will start, and then you'll get a couple.
Whatever it is,
coming up. But there's a Noche UFC Saturday, September 12th. I wanted to notate this. 2 p.m. main card for that. Desert Diamond Arena over in Glendale coming up. So I just wanted to let everybody know I saw that wasn't on the schedule before, so I don't know when that was announced, but I did see that doing my research looking forward here. So UFC fans, September 12th over there at Desert Diamond Arena in Glendale. UFC's coming out here.
I wonder if we get Sugar on that card.
You think? Well, being
If we
Noche
could,
tells
it'd
me
be-
it's all
He's Hispanic.
Hispanic, yeah.
Well,
from that
that's
side.
but
Doesn't mean anything. Well, I can tell you this right now: the main that they have listed is Waldo Cortez Acosta and Curtis Blades.
Oh wow,
As a heavyweight bout.
that'd be nice.
That's the main card
Well, we'll
listed
get some
right
MMA
now.
lab guys there. Maybe Jose Delgado. I don't.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of cards listed. They have that one and a couple ladies fights listed.
Yeah, they'll all
right
be
now.
defined as we get
Exactly, but just wanted to put that on everybody's radar here in the Valley
Nice.
coming up. For that. So there goes the Hispanic card, and right off the bat, it's those two heavyweight guys battling it out at the top.
Well, Cortez Acosta is a Dominican.
He is a
so there's
Dominican,
some
yeah.
Latino there.
But yeah, folks,
Come on,
appreciate
Steve.
it. I know, appreciate it, Lou, as always here on a
Thanks.
Thursday. Hey, the UFC screwed me up today, man. I'm gonna blame them. Get your website fixed. It's hard going back and forth today for me, folks. Hopefully you were entertained at least. Lou will be back next week as well. For everybody else, have a great night. Don't forget, we'll be live tomorrow on Friday. We're back to our 5-day-a-week schedule. Come back and join us, would you? See you then.